Okay, I want to make a vlog review of the polynomial assessment. Once again, this will be given during the final period in addition to any standards you don't have locked. Nobody has any of them locked now because I haven't given them the requisite times. I will, trust me. Okay, now, the first thing, if we have an exponent higher than a 2, which we have here, we need to make that table go 3, 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Okay, then I insert these into the equation for x. Negative 2, parentheses 3 to the power of 3, plus 7, parentheses 3 to the second, and then just minus 3. Okay, I got 6. Then remember, I hit the up arrow on my compass and just go over those 3's and replace them with 2's. Okay, I got 9. Okay, with 1. That's part of the reason why we have these calculators. 2. You can put 0 if you want. It's just an n number. That without the x, negative 3. Okay, now you have to reset it when you insert the negatives. Negative 1. You only have to reset it once, so you don't have to do it every time. Six. Okay, then I'm going to go back and put 2's where those 1's were. Don't put negative. The negative's already there. Okay, 41. As fast as some of you text, this shouldn't be a problem. Okay, 114. I refuse to graph 114. Okay, so I'm going to go by actually 10s. You can go by 10s. I'll go by 5s here. I can make it by 5s. So 3, 1, 2, 3, up 5, and then a little bit past that. 2, 9, 5, 10, a little bit past that. 1, 2, so 1, 2, a little bit past the 0. 0, negative 3, just a little bit down. Negative 1, 6, so left 1 and up kind of where 6 is at. Remember, we're going by 5s here. Okay, and then negative 241, so 1, 2, and then up 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 41. Now you play connect the dots. Now, guys, we have a negative here. So on the right, this is right, this arrow goes down. Now the highest power is 3. It's a third power, and that is an odd, so they have to go and split up into opposite directions. Okay, and there's your graph. Pretty awesome. Okay, let's get on to some other stuff. Okay, exponent simplification. Okay, as long as there's no adding and subtracting operators, which there's not on these, and down here there is. Okay. We want to set up the 3 steps, okay? So I got 6 times x, those are my bases. 6 is to the 1, but 1 times 4 is 4, and then 3 times 4 is 12. They're not going anywhere because they're both positive, okay? And then 6 to the power of 4 is 1,296 times x to the power of 12. Okay, pretty much easy. Next one, same idea. You don't have any multiplying, I think, because there's no parentheses. So 1, 12. I got 12 a and b on top. And then I have a 15, but I don't want to repeat the variables I already have on top because I have a way of doing that without having to worry on bottom. So 12's to the 1, 15's to the 1. Now, a, we got a negative 3 and a 1. So I would subtract. Negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. B, I have a negative 1, and then I'm going to subtract again because it's on bottom. Negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. So the 12 to the 1 and the 15 to the 1 stay in their place, but then the A and the B have to go into the denominator so their powers become positive, so 4 and 2. And then this just becomes 12 and 15 times a to the fourth times b to the second. Now, some teachers would want you to reduce these two by the GCF, which, by the way, is 3, so it'd be 4 over 5. I'm not going to require that. Okay, there should be a parentheses here. Sorry about that. Underline. Because it's important to see where your line's at. If you don't have anything under, fine. So you got 2 times 6 times x times y. Okay, so 2. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. 6 would just be to the 1. X, 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. And then there's another x, but it's on top, so I use the addition operation, negative 3. Negative 6 plus negative 3 is negative 9. It's like a number line. If you're at negative 6 and you go 3 out to the left, it just takes you to a higher negative. And then y, negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. Okay, so these ones with the negatives have to change. The 6 to the 1 and the y to the fourth don't, but then the 2 goes to the bottom to a second, and the x goes to a 9. So that's 6, that's 4, and then times y to the fourth times x to the ninth. Now, some teachers would have you reduce that to 3 over 2. You can if you want. It's not mandatory. Okay, didn't give you a lot of room here. I'm going to do some of these calculations here because I don't have enough room for you to really see what I'm doing. On top we have 8, A and B. Get this y out of here. That's just, I'm not sure why that got in there. 8's to the 1, okay? Now A's, we got a 1, a 4, and a 3. So I will be taking 1 plus 4 minus 3. That should be mental math. 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay. Now B, what do we have? We have a negative 3 minus a negative 2. You can punch it on the calculator. I would go plus plus. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. Okay, you got a negative, so the 8 to the 1 and the 8 to the second stay on the numerator, but then the b goes into the denominator, and it's 1. Yes, if it's 1, you can just write b. That's fine. So that's 8 times a to the 2, and then b, or b to the 1. Okay, now in our next problem, the minus is a game changer. That means we simplify it with the FOIL method. Okay, first times first, outer, inner, last. I do not want to be doing it the same way. There are no adding or minus operators in here, but here there is. Okay, so 4x times 4x. 4x multiplied by negative 2. And now we distribute negative 2 to 4x and negative 2 to negative 2. Okay, so what do these equal? Well, this is 16x to the second power. This is negative 8x, this is negative 8x, and this is 4. So I have blank x second plus blank x plus blank. So we got 16x second. We add these, it's negative 16, and then we have 4. Okay, now here's the directions got cut off. Solve the equation by factoring. Okay, factoring means you have to draw your boxes because you got 3 answers and it will factor. I wouldn't tell you to use factoring if it wouldn't. You got x to the third, you got x to the first. Okay, so the zeros here, I have 2 terms. So GCF, DOPS. And we have a higher power than a 2, so if I'm looking for more than 2 answers, I want to see if we have any more DOPS. Maybe I will, maybe I don't, but I at least got to think about it. It's a game plan. Factoring doesn't have to be hard if you have a plan for it. Okay, so GCF. I don't have the negative in front. I do have x third and x, so I'm taking x. And then 18 and 50, the GCF's 2. I'm just showing you, proving it's 2. Yep, 2. So we factor out 2x, circle it. Now I go divide by 2x. And remember, when we do GCF with an x, you should get the x's to cross out in a certain place. That's 9x to the second minus 25. Now that 2x can't be forgotten. We're going to put that down here. Okay, now as this adopts, well, it's minus 5 times 5, 3 times 3, and it's to the second power, so that'd be xx. So it's going to be 3x, 3x, 5, 5. The plus gets circled, and when I circle one of them, I cross two of them out. So I put 3x plus 5 alongside the 2x. That is a minus, but 5 is not a perfect square, so we can circle that. And every time I circle one, cross two of them out. Okay, so 3x minus 5. Okay, now you got your F1, F2, F3, and you go to a piece of scratch paper that I provided for you. So 2x could equal 0, 3x plus 5 could equal 0, 3x minus 5 could equal 0. Divide by 2, you get 0. Subtract 5, 3x equals negative 5. Then I divide by 3. There's no second power, so I can just leave it in fraction form. Negative 5 over 3. Or you can divide into a decimal. It's up to you. The other one's just going to be the opposite of the last answer. Positive 5 over 3. Okay, my next one. 3 answers. We have to I have x to the third, I have x second, and I've got x to the first, so obvious factoring. It's a trinomial, so I need GCF. You have to know your rules. 3 terms is GCF T. That's a 1 there. Okay, and since we have a higher power than a 2, I'm going to want to check for the more dots. I'm not saying there's going to be, but anytime there's more than 2 answers, there might be, there might not be. See, if I have that there, I don't get all aggravated. Okay, GCF. We do not have the negative. We have x third, x second, x, so we put x. And then 1, 9, and 18 is 1. But it's 1x, guys, so you got to pull it out, circle it. And I divide all these buggers by the 1x. So that gives me 1 with x to the second, 9x, plus 18. Okay, now don't forget him. You should be putting him down there. A, B, C. A times C would be me taking 1 times 18, both positive, so it's a positive. So I'm having a sum equals 9. I'm teaching this in extended algebra now. It's not this, just the T-chart part. It ain't going well. 18, no, it's 3 and 6. Okay, everybody in here knows how to find the 2. Okay. All right, so my 9's plus, and it's a sum. They would have to be the same, of the same sign. Now, A, go look at your A. It's 1, and it's x squared, so nothing to be worried about there. I just make one line of parentheses, and x, plus 3, plus 6. That's a plus, circle it, get rid of 2. That's also a plus, get rid of the 2. So these are my other 2 factors, x plus 3, x plus 6 equals 0. You probably don't even need scratch paper to solve this. 1x equals 0. X plus 3 is 0. X plus 6 equals 0. Divide by 1, you get 0. Minus 3, that would be negative 3. Minus 6, that would be negative 6. So you just found the zeros of the equation. Okay, now you're still using factoring until I say different. 5 answers on this bugger because we have x to the 5th, x to the 3rd, and x. When you have that, you want to factor unless I tell you it's not going to work. So that's a trinomial, so GCF and the T. I usually in these, because I know if I have more than 3 answers, I want to write more dots, question mark. So I want some space here, like I didn't read myself enough. Plus, minus, plus, minus. These two go together. Okay, GCF, I do not have the negative in front. I have x to the fifth, x third, and x, so I want to take the x. And the GCF out of 3, 18, and 15, it's 3, okay? If you're thinking Herbson didn't even know it, that's pathetic. Yeah, I do. I'm just showing you. Because I can't have people doing the wrong thing. It's 3. So 3x is the GCF. Circle it, and then move on. Anytime you're dividing by any kind of x, that's so you can cancel an x. So that's 1, and that'd be x to the fourth minus 6x second plus 5. Okay, then I go A, B, C. And I will be taking A times C, and that will be taking 1 times positive 5. Well, that's 5, it's positive. So we're finding a sum of 6. Well, 1 and 5 is about all you got, and lo and behold, that's a sum of 6. So my 6 is minus, so 5 is minus. And sum means they're the same, so they'd be the same. Now, this will bite you in the butt. You got 1 on A. That's good. I just need 2 parentheses, but that is an x to the fourth. I would suggest you put a parentheses with the type of x you see, so you know if it's to the fourth, you don't just go xx. It's x to the second and x to the second. Minus 1, minus 5. Now, neither one's a plus, so we actually need to look at them. We got minus 1 times 1, x times x. That's adopts. Don't circle that. So I go x, x, 1, 1. Sorry, I should have put the 3x down here. Okay, but not that one. Okay, I put these two alongside here: x plus 1, x minus 1. Okay, now let's check the other one. You have a minus, but 5's not a dot, so you can circle that one and get rid of these two. Okay, so I put that factor alongside it. And I've broken it up into all the pieces I need to solve it, which I probably want scratch paper here. So 3x equals 0, x plus 1 equals 0, x minus 1 equals 0, x to the power of 2 minus 5 equals 0. So here I'm dividing by 3, and that means 0. I'm minus 1, that's negative 1. There's no second power there. I add 1, that's 1. Now there's two answers here. It's a positive and a negative, the same thing. You add 5. Now you can do, and then you need to do the square root. It's not negative, so you don't need I. Now you can do one of two things. You can square root 5 as a decimal, and if you do that, you would write 2.24 and negative 2.24. I'll allow that. Or if you use the square root simplification, 5 isn't really going to divide by anything other than 1, so we just write square root of 5, negative square root of 5. So pick what you want to do, either this or this. Doesn't matter. Pick one or the other. You don't have to write or, okay? Good with either. Okay, last factoring problem. This is the grouping because there's 4 terms. Okay, and then if there's more than one answer, we're going to have to see if there's more dots at the end of the grouping. Okay. So I have 4x to the third plus 8x to the second, and then we're going to have negative 9x minus 18. Okay, the GCF x second has to be down there because you have x second and x third, because then these can cancel. And then 4 and 8, they have a GCF of 4. Okay. You're not going to put an x down there because 18 doesn't have an x, but you do need to put negative, and 9 and 18 have a GCF of 9. So 4x second goes out, negative 9 goes out, and that ends up being 1x plus 2 and 1x plus 2. So I factor out a 1x plus 2. Then I have 4x to the second. Don't write plus negative. You need to see the minus there. because we know with pluses we circle. Just write it down here. Take those out. The minus you got to check. So 3 times 3, 2 times 2, x times x. So yeah, that works. Don't circle that. You got to factorize it more. Okay, and then we take those. So 2x plus 3, 2x minus 3. Okay, so 1x plus 2 equals 0. 2x plus 3 equals 0. 2x minus 3 equals 0. So I minus 2, that'd be negative 2. You don't need to divide by 1, and there's no second power. Okay, 2 times x is negative 3, so you need to divide by 2. Now you can either write it as negative 1.5 or negative 3 over 2. I don't care which one. The decimal's okay too. 2x equals 3, divide by 2. 3 divided by 2 is 3 over 2, or 1.5. Okay, now that's the worst part, that factoring crap. Now, you're like, oh, there's 3 answers, more factoring. No, it's not. I said it won't factor, so don't set them up. So if it ain't going to factor, you need to use the synthetic division. And you set these bad boys across here. 1, negative 8, positive 11, positive 20. Okay, now obviously you need something to divide by. Well, you need to do some trial by error then to get one of your solutions. So 1 parentheses 1 to the third minus 8 parentheses 1 squared plus 11 parentheses 1 plus 20. Okay, that didn't work. Now I'm going to do 2. That did not work. Now I'm going to do 3. That didn't work. Now clear the calculator and do negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. I guarantee you one of those 6 things will work. Okay? I did not write any problems where you'd have to go past that. Okay? If you find yourself going past negative 3 when you do the negatives, you need to probably see me. Oh, I got 0. Okay? If that didn't work, I'd hit up, go 2, 2. If that didn't work, I'd go 3. If that didn't work, I'd go up to Hermsen and say, what am I doing wrong? So negative 1's your first. So I drop 1. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1, and then I add. That makes negative 9. Times negative 1 is 9. That's 20. 20 times negative 1 is negative 20. 0. So that 1 goes from an x to the third to an x to the second. 9x plus 20 is 0. Okay, now if we don't have a I mean, you can do your GCFT if that makes you feel more comfortable, but I'm here to tell you right now, if you don't have a negative in front, the GCF's 1, okay? It's not going to work. Then A, B, C. A times C means I multiply 1 by 20, positive 20, sum of 9. Okay, 1 and 20, no. 2 and 10, no. 3's, how about 4 and 5? You bet. Now 9's negative, so 5's negative, and it's sum, they have to be the same. Okay, so negative. A's a nice 1 with x to the second, easy. X minus 4 minus 5. Okay, then I think you pretty well know what the other 2 answers are at that point. Plus 4, you get 4. Plus 5, you're at 5. Okay. All right, story problems. One's really easy, one's pretty annoying. First off, I screwed this up. Where you see 1992 here, you need to put 2000. During the period 1992 to 2000, a number of people participated in cross-country skiing, and then you get this equation here. I'm just going to write it down here so I can write it in bigger print. Put a capital T so you don't think that's a plus. It's minus 0.107 t to the second plus 0.27 t plus 3.5. T is a year since 1992. C represents the cross-country skiers by the millions. Calculate how many cross-country skiers there were in 2000. So I need to know what my variables mean. C is cross-country skiers. You can just put skiers if you want. And T is years, but it's since. They don't give me any cross-country skiing numbers to put in. That's good. Okay, I hate when I have to put numbers here. Years since 1992. Now, they do give me a year. It's 2000. So 2000 has to do with T, but I need to minus 1992 then, and that's 8. So the T value is 8. And these are easy. All I have to do is plug the 8s into the equation. 0.067 parentheses 8 to the third minus 1.07 parentheses 8 to the second plus 0.27 parentheses 8 plus 3.5. I believe I wrote something down wrong because you shouldn't get a negative. We're aborting mission. I think what I did is that 3.5 should be a 35, so I'm going to go up here and change it. I don't have to re-enter it. I just hit up. Yeah. There we go. 2.98. Let's just go 3. Okay. It's in millions, so 3 million skiers. C equals 3 million. Now, the next one, if I put this particular problem, not one like it, but this one, because we did it in the examples on the assignment on Tuesday, and then Wednesday I did it up in front of the room. If you see this problem with the negative 5x third one more time with the 14 and the 2, you can slap me, okay? Sorry. Got to diversify my things a little more. A company's profit can be modeled by the equation P equals negative 5x to the third power plus 6x to the second power plus 15x. X is the number of items produced in thousands, and P is the profit in thousands. What other numbers of items would produce the same profit? And it says a company is now making a $14,000 profit from producing 2,000 items, because without that, you can't do the problem. So P equals negative 5x cubed plus 6x squared plus 15x. Okay, what are my values? P and X, my variables, sorry. And P is your profit, okay? And X is whatever you're selling, but it just says items, so that's items. Now, what do we have for each? Do we have a value? Well, yeah, 14. 14 is a profit, so I'm going to put a little 14 there. How about items? Well, we have 2,000 of those, but I'm just going to put a 2. I don't want the excess zeros in there. Okay, so you're going to put them in at the same time. So P is 14, and then 2 is going in for X. Then I'm just going to make sure that equals 14 and that they're not full of crap here. Or I'm not full of crap, your teacher. Okay? I want to see that the information they're telling me is, I want to verify that's correct. Yep, it is 14. Now, we still want to make 14, but we want to find other numbers of items that could make 14. So those X's switch back to what they were. And we have to find the 3 solutions. Well, we already have 1. You're like, well, it's trial and error. No, you already had 2 in there. You know that equals 14, so 2 is one of them. Okay, move that 14 over here. It becomes minus. You just minus it at the end, and you're ready for your synthetic division by 2. Negative 5, 6, 15, negative 14. Drop your negative 5, multiply it by 2. Add, you get negative 4 by 2 is negative 8, 7 times 2 is 14, add 0. Okay, then that takes it to a simpler equation, x to the second now, 4x plus 7, 0. Now you do have a negative in there at the front, so you probably want to do your GCF, sorry. You want to do -1, okay? So you factor out a -1 because that's appropriate to do. So it's 5x squared. Actually, you'll get the same answer if you go to the quadratic formula, but I like to be consistent on how I do things. Okay, ABC, 5 times -7 is -35, difference of 4. That's a fail. You can't find two factors. You just got 1 and 35, that ain't it, and 5 and 7, that ain't it. So, quadratic formula. -4. Square root, parentheses second, minus 3 in a row, and then 2 and 5, which we know is 10. So in here we got 4, another 4, 5, and -7. You got to remember the 7's negative. Okay, I just got to figure out that square root. $12.5. Okay, then I go from there. So -4 plus 12.5 divided by 10, 0.85. -4 minus 12.5 divided by 10, -1.65. Ditch the negative, and these are your answers. Now they're by the thousands, so that means 2,000. The other one is less than a full thousand. It's actually 850.